Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here, everyone. Thank you for joining me yet again. I'm feeling a bit better, not 100% there, but getting closer and closer every day. So today there was an update in the Danny Masterson criminal trial. Many of you probably already know there was a hung jury resulting in a mistrial declared the first time Danny Masterson was tried for his violent attacks against a number of women, and he is being retried. There was a hearing today on that subject. Very short hearing. It was probably literally 10 minutes long. This video is going to be longer than that. And Dodge Landisman was on site reporting on this. Guys, Dodge Landisman is the reporter that Scientology got fired from his job for reporting about Lisa Marie Presley, and the report included a bunch of negative information about Scientology. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing the world hadn't heard before, but Scientology is so petty, evil, vindictive, and small-minded that not only did they pursue his employer until they took the story down, but they pursued his employer until they had no choice but to let Dodge go. So Dodge is now working on independent reporting on his own YouTube channel. Check out his YouTube channel. It's Dodge Landisman. I'll throw a picture of it right here. Subscribe to him. He is also going to be covering every new development and every day of the new Danny Masterson trial. So I interviewed Dodge to find out what happened at the hearing today, and here is that interview.
So today, this is essentially the opening, and the first moment you have in a trial is certainly less consequential than the rest of the trial. So there was a little bit of back and forth. One of the things that I was a little surprised by is there really wasn't an attempt on Cohen's part to try to kick the can down the road. He was happy with the case moving forward very, very quickly. So they will start pre-screening jurors late March and then call the jurors in by April 11th. And 10 days within March 27th, that's when they'll start looking at the jury process, looking at potential jurors. And previously, with a lot of attorneys, sometimes a tactic is just a delay. And this time, that's not necessarily the case. So that was an interesting bit of information, I would say. Another one, which is probably the biggest point of information about this opening, is subpoenas, and specifically Cohen wants to issue 7 subpoenas specifically, and he wants to issue them before the next status conference, which would be in late March. So again, that's all going to be served very, very, very quickly, which is interesting. So yeah, that's kind of the crux of the entire case, I would say, as of now. It's just the speed as of which it was moving. Danny Masterson was not in the courtroom himself, just Cohen and his other attorney, as well as a prosecutor. Very little, there really was no argument in terms of any back and forth, no real disagreements. But they'll start having to deal with the subpoenas by the 24th of February. So all of that should be cemented by that date, give or take. So we're all looking at late February, early March, mid-March for the case to kind of get some steam.
Okay. Did they say what the subpoenas were for specifically?
No. And oftentimes in the opening case, they won't be specific in that regard. You kind of find out later. But it is noted that with the subpoenas, he needs specific approval, and was kind of rushing to get that approval before any of the continuing motions with anything else pertinent to the case would happen.
Okay, great. So it didn't sound like from anything that happened there today that we should expect any delays?
No. And that is notable because in the past, it seems like there was some attempts for delays. And in this situation, so far, so good.
Yeah. And also in the past, Cohen's gotten himself into some trouble by issuing overly broad, invasive subpoenas directly to the Jane Does, violating some of the privacy protections that are built into the law for victims of assault of this kind of nature. Did the judge mention anything about that or anything at all?
No, but it's interesting you bring that up, because at this point now they must be approved. So I assume, just reading trying to analyze the past court moments, that because of his actions, now all the subpoenas kind of get this extra eye and get more examination than it would have gotten before. So I thought that was interesting. And again, he was kind of pressing for all of that to be done in a quick way. So that's also kind of interesting. By February 23rd, he wants all of that dealt with. And that might be a comment on he doesn't want too much analysis or too much oversight on these subpoenas, and let's just get that approved as quickly as possible. So who knows, perhaps if there was too much examination of the subpoena, it wouldn't hold up. So that's not kind of something interesting to think about when you look at the case in the future.
Right. And did the judge approve all 7 requests?
No, so that the judge will have to approve all of that by late February. So that there's now this there's now this kind of 2-week bracket for all of the subpoenas to be approved.
Oh, okay, good. I get it. And if you already said this, I might have missed it. When is the next hearing scheduled for?
Next hearing specifically would be March status conference on March 6th. So a status conference is really just kind of a lot of clerical information, logistical information, how to proceed with what specific dates, cementing officially the juror process, although that's pretty close to cemented at this point. But yes, that would be the next appearance, would be March 6th. Status conference with the motions happening on March 27th.
Excellent. Was there any mention at all about the debacles surrounding the jury foreman and that he lied his way onto the jury and lied about all sorts of stuff?
Man, I was shocked. No, not a single mention. And you think that's like the biggest part? You think at least Judge Olmedo would say, well, hey, watch out for this and do your research. We have to do our research a lot better to look at the potential jurors, with the jury foreman situation. No mention of that. I think with the amount of time, though, given for the jurors, there's a pre-screening of jurors as well. Considering that is not going to happen until April, that's an ample amount of time. So I think comparatively speaking, if you look at other court cases, and this is just anecdotal, but oftentimes that's a much quicker process. That could oftentimes be a 2 to 3 week process. So perhaps because of the massive blunder last time, there's quite a bit of time to get the jurors all together and get that figured out.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised to see that come up in one of the March hearings.
Yeah.
How busy was the courtroom?
Very light. There were probably no spectators, really. There was, I would say, 4 reporters, give or take. They were in and out. They were there for the whole process probably lasted 9 minutes at most. Wow. 8 to 9 minutes. And so they left quickly. Somebody I overheard with some LA magazine was trying to overhear some stuff. So it's going to get some press, but I don't even know if they'll write anything about it, because the interesting part is you really have to examine this and look at the history of what happened in the last case and kind of analyze it in a legal way, versus it's not ostensibly this breaking news about the trial. There are fascinating nuggets if you know what you're talking about, but I'd even be surprised to see anything written by anybody else, but we'll see what that happens. But yeah, at least I was surprised there was any press, quite frankly, but at least there was some. Yeah.
Did you notice another red-haired attorney in the courtroom, not representing anybody, but in the audience?
Not in the audience. Not in the audience. There was, in addition to Cohen, there was I believe the name was Anson. Anson was there as well. But isn't Anson a woman though? Yeah. Were you asking about a woman, or you're asking about a dude?
Yeah, I was told that there was another red-haired attorney in the courtroom who looked a lot like you, who happens to be
funny.
One of Scientology's attorneys.
I did see a redhead. I thought he did look like me, appeared as if he was probably in his early to mid 30s. And I assumed he was a reporter. Yes, he must be a court dude, subversively.
Yeah, the next time you see him, you can say hi. He's definitely one of Scientology's attorneys. Will you be recording anything about this for your channel?
Yeah, I'm going to give like a 3-minute rundown, really examining, I believe, the 3 stories that have been described and really kind of getting it down. Because I think people need to realize the severity of what Masterson is on trial for, which is very serious stuff.
It is. And, I understand that in a court of law and from the jury's perspective, they can only really consider evidence relating to the 3 charged victims. But the fact is,
right,
there's at least 7 or 8. This exact pattern of behavior goes back to the 90s, even earlier than any of the named victims in this case.
Right.
And that's why I'm very upfront about my open bias in relation to this. I'm
Sure.
not waiting for a jury to decide whether Masterson did it. He did it. I'm just hoping the DA can succeed in proving it beyond a reasonable doubt. So
the evidence is overwhelming. The stories are very harrowing if you read the details of it. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Dodge. And I'll encourage everyone to go over to it and check out the additional coverage on your channel.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Aaron. You're the best, and I'll be here each and every step of the way. So we will reconnect, I believe, on February 23rd. But I'll keep all you guys posted for all those dates, and excited to continue the coverage for sure, man.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.